Now, time has come to explore deductive approaches to qualitative data analysis. Unusual as they are possible, and I will explain how in this video. They basically involve predicting a pattern of outcomes based on theoretical propositions derived from the literature. Therefore, you rely on existing theory before you start collecting your data, if it is deductive research that you wish to undertake. Now, this theory could be tentative or it could be explanatory, but the most important thing to remember is that it is derived before you collect your data. Now, some of you may feel relieved that this approach is possible with qualitative data because indeed many students find it difficult to rely on inductive logic in their research. And indeed there are advantages to doing it deductively in that it is easier than in the inductive alternative to link your research to an existing body of knowledge in your subject area. However, there is a downside to approaching your research in this manner. In doing so, you may introduce a premature closure on the issues to be investigated, and this, to some extent, goes against the logic of qualitative research because qualitative data is useful in shedding light over a phenomenon, and the process can be short-circuited if you start with a predetermined theory in mind. Now, if discourse analysis and its variations dominated inductive approaches to analysis, pattern matching is the only method for qualitative data analysis starting from a theory. Pattern matching is the only option at hand if you wish to test a theory rather than arrive at that theory in a grounded approach which the inductive methodology affords. With pattern matching, the clue is really in the title. You would have identified a pattern that is a tentative or an explanatory theory from the existing literature in your field, and then you would be matching that theory with the data you'll find in the field. There are two variations to this procedure. One links an independent variable with a set of dependent variables, and the other one looks at sets of independent variables, which provide a number of alternative explanations to explain a particular intriguing pattern of outcomes. Now, if the first one may seem straightforward, for example, based on theoretical propositions drawn from appropriate literature, you could specify a number of related outcomes, hence dependent variables, that you expect to find as a result of the implementation of a particular, say, change management program in an organization. Now, the change management program would be your independent variable, and its outcomes would represent your dependent variables. Now, this variation of pattern matching may seem straightforward. The second one, however, may require a further example. So Saunders's textbook on research methods for business students suggests an example of a research project looking at reasons for productivity increase at a particular time in a particular organization. And say the researcher developed two alternative explanations based on two alternative bodies of literature. One body of literature is strategic human resource management, and from that the researcher derived a possible explanation for productivity increase, which is better management. So according to strategic HRM literature, better management could stand to account for productivity increase in that organization. However, from another body of literature, organizational behavior and management of change, the productivity increase is supposedly due to fears about change and uncertainty in the future. So there is the researcher's alternative explanation for that fortunate change in productivity. And what the researcher would do in the rest of the study is that they would match those two alternative patterns with the existing data, deciding on which, if either, is likely to explain that productivity increase. Note that the outcome of such an endeavor, pattern matching, is arriving at an explanation which has a better predictive power than what can be achieved with discourse analysis. So once again, explaining why this method may seem attractive. Now, explanation building using pattern matching, so this deductive analytic procedure, is not that different from the coding process involved in discourse analysis, but it does differ a little bit. So if you look at these stages, it first starts with a theoretical proposition, which is definitely different. And then, upon confronting that theoretical proposition with the data, the theoretical proposition gets amended and then subjected to another round of data collection and analysis. And then the process continues until the most likely explanation is being found. All in all, a very interesting procedure with clear merits to a research based on qualitative data, however contested in many scholarly circles, so attempt with care and upon advice from your supervisor.